Greetings, travelers. The following episode is of listener tales. Now, we do not read these ahead of time, so listener discretion is advised. I'm author Mark Muncy.
And I'm author Erika Lance.
And this is Eerie Travels. Greetings, travelers.
Greetings, travelers.
Oh, wow. We're recording again. This is crazy. It seems like we do this a lot.
We probably should to keep our fans happy.
Yeah, exactly.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, thank you all for keeping us enjoying the 2 times a week. Oh my gosh, that's
yeah.
That was a big deal for us. So
it was, and it's working out splendidly. Muhahaha.
Part of our global domination thing. So
yes. If we did global domination, which we're not very good at. So we do have some events coming up. I think where are we going to be here shortly?
Well, we've got the Great Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference coming up.
Yeah. So that's in July. And
then right after that, Tampa Bay Comic Con.
Yes.
Like literally the last weekend in July. And then we're on the road to Dragon Con.
And you're at PopCon. So we'll talk more about those coming up. But we do have a little bit of an announcement, which is at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival, there will be Eerie Travels swag. Swag alert. So we will have our t-shirts in, and we have some pins. And hopefully there'll be a couple other surprises, but we have a couple episodes coming up before then, so we'll talk about that later.
And remember, if you are a listener and you have come and show us that you've subscribed, you get a free sticker.
You do. They're pretty cool. They're shiny. They're kind of wonderful. So come see them. But
I was told they are distracting, so I was like, I think that's a good comment.
Yes, I agree. There is a holiday. Are you going to talk about the holiday, Mark?
Which holiday? I'm sorry, I've lost track of the time. So
Litha.
Oh, Litha. I haven't really had it. That's one of the ones that's it's an interesting holiday. It's part of the Beltane circle of life. It's the sun. It's the celebration of abundance, right? So everything is green, the fruit is everywhere, and it's it's the way you do this one is hey, eat your fruits and vegetables, eat your strawberries, dance around the maypole. And one of the things that's fun is you can also it's midsummer, so you can do your midsummer fire, but don't watch the midsummer movie and and try to celebrate that way. That's a completely different way. It's basically coming up the longest day of the year, so the sun's shining longer than ever. As we know, here in Florida, the sun sets at midnight. It seems like at least it's as hot as if the sun sets at midnight.
No, that's true. Yeah.
So, but this is all about the Earth Goddess, so you got to love this one. So
so anyone who celebrates,
happy
wonderful for you. This is going to be a listener tales episode.
Oh yes.
So should we get our breaking news out of the way?
What? There's breaking news
there. I love that because you're the one that has the breaking news.
I know. It's so funny. So, but this is big. I mean, this is we had an incident in Las Vegas. I mean,
we didn't play our breaking news music. Okay, now we're back. Now you can talk.
All right. So this is crazy. This is basically the police get a 911 call from a family that says, hey, something crashed in our backyard. Now there's weird creatures that are tall alien creatures with big eyes.
And what's interesting about this is there are several Ring and doorbell cameras. I don't want to just say Ring because there's Nest. There's a ton of them. So we're not plugging one, but that actually capture this thing happening as well. Like the moment they say it was a fiery crash, there's a lot of neighbors. So it wasn't just like these guys said it happened. All of their neighbors caught on the Ring doorbells this crash occurring.
And the ex-cop who kind of broke this story, because this happened May the 1st, just after midnight in Las Vegas. This ex-cop, his name's Doug Papa. He's curious because right after this happened, there was a police response unit came out because the cop saw the craft land. He saw the crash.
Yeah.
And we have body cam footage of him arriving on the scene to talk to the family. Well, what's curious about it is they actually released it. And
they released part of it.
Part of it. That's the thing. What the big strange part is this guy is part of the Homeland Security Department of the Metro Police Department. They also installed installed video security cameras outside of the home after the incident.
Yeah, which is, I'm sorry, police department. That's freaking weird.
And and then that podcaster was the first to notice that. And then he interviewed the family a couple times. And he's like, I don't believe in UFOs, but the family he felt was credible. But then during the second visit, he noticed those security cameras, and the family told him the cops installed them supposedly to protect them from UFO nuts who are going to come bother them. He's like, but cops don't come out and put up very expensive video equipment like that. And they certainly don't do that for people who call in about UFOs. But then they released the body cam footage, and it showed the UFO, streaking across the sky. And the family on their phone call is like, it is 100% not human. But the Channel 8 News got hold of the body cam footage and released it. But what's of that from the flash? And then there were people who picked up that flash all over from Utah to California and others. And that was when the family called and said, hey, we got something weird.
Wow.
And here, I love the quote is, we just see in the corner of our eye something falling down from the sky, and it was with lights. And when it hit, there was like a big impact, and we felt like an energy. And then we hear like a lot of footsteps near us. And then we have like a big equipment, and we see there's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us. They're very large, like 8, 9, 10 foot tall. They're not human. 100% they're not human. So very strange stuff. But that police footage, right, comes out, and he's talking in that where he's saying it was a tall, skinny creature, gray, greenish color. When I looked at it in my eyes, my body just froze, and he had a weird feeling. And then now what's weird is the timeline doesn't add up. And the police department says they do not have a Homeland Security Department.
Oh.
But then it was pointed out to them on their website, they do. And it's led by a deputy chief. And so now they're going to prepare a statement about the cameras, but they disappeared shortly after the story broke that they spotted.
Of course. Well, that whole thing is interesting because it still goes back to what we talk about a lot, that I don't know if the world is quite ready, but I think we're close. I think we're close to some of this being acknowledged, because the more and more we have the ability to record things, it's one thing. And we're going to talk about Flatwoods, where it's kids and they go get their stepmom, and all you have is eyewitness accounts of what happened because they did not have cell phone cameras. But now with the advent of all the technology, like you can't Men in Black it anymore, as we like to say, So that's very, very interesting.
And then what happened was the investigative reporters looking into all this, and the two podcasters who were doing all the interviews and all that, they discovered there's missing minutes It's like the Nixon tape. It was redacted.
Here's body cam footage. You know what's interesting is I actually think that's against the law to redact body cam footage with all the laws that came out since the unfortunate George Floyd incident, where you're not allowed to. But it'll be interesting as that can of worms is opened. I do want to throw in our news from Paranormal Magazine, because if you go on their site, purchase anything and use the code TRAVELS, you get a wonderful discount. But apparently, speaking of security footage, and there was a mysterious figure caught on camera in the San Cayetano neighborhood, and so there's a link to it. So there's an interesting video, but there's this thing that moves, this shadowy figure that moves around, but it's moving so fast that it can't be an animal or a human or something like that. So, it's been sent over to the paranormal experts to give their feedback on what they think it is, but it doesn't say whether or not it's 8 to 9 feet tall. Who knows? Maybe they were caravanning. That can happen.
Maybe it was maybe this was like the predecessor to an invasion.
Yes. Oh, can we not say that? I think they're coming here because we have good bananas or something. Like, let's be nice. We could have something. They could want to come for Carnival. I mean, in Brazil,
I think they want to come to the Mothman Festival, and they're just
hell yeah, Mothman. Yeah,
they're just coming early.
Just don't have something that irradiates us, please, because we're going to be there. So, but let's dive into our listener tales. Do you want to start, Mark?
Thank you so much for sending these to us, folks.
Yes.
Just go to the Erie Travels website. There's a button to click to send us a story, or you can just email me, Mark at Erie Travels, and I'll look at them too. And it all comes to us, so we can sort it and look at it. And we thank you all for your comments and corrections from previous episodes and other things. We take all of that very seriously to heart, and we try to make things work as best we can. So, but anyway,
absolutely, thank you all very much. And by the way, me and Mark are acutely aware of how imperfect we are.
Yes,
we do own it when we mess things up. So please feel free to call us out on our bullshit sometimes. We appreciate it.
And I do like some of the people suggesting drinking games. Some of those have been pretty hysterical. So
let's do that. I would love to do an Erie Travels drinking game. You know me.
Well, the one is when you say nope, and don't like that. Those are Erika's catchphrases, apparently.
I appreciate that. And just for the record, I think with the episodes we have coming up in October, you're going to get very drunk. Very drunk.
and mine is apparently when I say I know.
I think that anybody choosing those two options is going to get drunk every episode. Please do not be driving or intend to drive.
I would say that is definitely not a shot thing. This would definitely be maybe a sip of your Long Island iced tea, and you'd finish.
Why are people having a Long Island iced tea? Can't they have like a really nice, mixed drink that doesn't have 20 alcohols in it?
That's my go-to. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, Mark. Oh. Yeah. Okay, listener tales. Let's get into it.
So get out your Long Island iced teas, gang, and let's enjoy these listener tales. So, all right. So this first one comes to us from Jake, and he doesn't want us to say much more than that, so I'm going to assume it's Jake from State Farm. And Jake, thank you so much for sending us this. And
thank you, Jake.
Buckle up. This is fun. So
okay,
my
I'm ready.
Whole family is from Arizona. And even though when I was younger, I never believed in cryptids, I thought people like my cousin and grandpa were crazy. No offense. But now going through what?
I said none taken.
None taken, yeah. But now going through my grandpa's journals and all his notes and comparing them to my cousins on all the cryptids we have in our home state, I find myself looking back and laughing. My grandpa would always tell us of his camping trips, leaving a bowl of soup for his friend, the Bigfoot of Turkey Creek, and one from here in y'all's neck of the woods, the Snallygaster. I realize now I was wrong to think of them as crazy James does what he does to honor our grandpa, because in reality, they were best friends that would talk for hours and hours about the subject of hidden creatures. This was their escape from judgment. They were what my grandma would say, 2 peas in a pod. And even now he sits across from me wearing glasses that look like my grandpa's and draw maps of cryptid sightings here in Appalachia, depending on which part of the Mason-Dixon line you're on. All right,
well,
so anyway,
we're going to get a new email correcting you on how to say that, but continue.
Yep. So he told me a story of when him and Grandpa went to the Chiricahua National Monument, and all day they would hunt for Bigfoot sign or anything that could lead them to a new discovery. He would smile real big as a kid anytime my grandpa would bring him arrowheads and knives with a deer antler for a handle. But most of all, he kept every journal my grandpa ever wrote and reads them like they are holy texts. He told me of the Bigfoot here in Appalachia that him and my grandpa wanted to look for one day. And I think one of you mentioned it on a previous podcast from Pennsylvania. I forget the spelling of it, but it's rather small compared to the rest of the known legends.
We did talk about that. We did talk about the smaller Bigfoot. Yeah.
He asked me if I would like to one day go with him and follow along the trails my grandpa mapped out to see if there was any validity to some of the eyewitness reports. My only thoughts were I'd be honored to walk with him down that path and see the world my cousin and grandpa truly loved and lived in. Does anyone have any folklore on the Bigfoot for Pennsylvania that I could look up and compare it to my cousin's knowledge?
Oh,
reaching out to our fellow listeners and other, Erie travelers to say, hey, if you got anything on Bigfoot from Pennsylvania, let him know. He'd like to research it.
Yeah, no, send that to us. We'll share that. Oh, that brings all the tears.
Yes.
That is so sweet. And, Jake from State Farm, we do understand because there's a lot of stuff in this world that is not clear or understandable. We talked a little bit about the alien ship crashing into the people's yards. We assume it's aliens since we haven't seen any.
Well, we don't know. It's stuff we don't know. They saw something that freaked them out.
Yeah, exactly. A couple some things, and then seems to be a cover up. If you want to be a conspiracy theorist, which I'm on board for. But I love this, and I think we told a story about another person in one of our listener tales that left soup for his Bigfoot friend.
Yep.
And I love, Mark, I love hearing when we're looking for on the hunt, because I hate the word hunt in a way for Bigfoot, that we're looking to have it in a very nice, sweet, anyway, not using all the words properly. I started my own drinking game. But I think that's wonderful. Jake, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I think it would be fun for you to go on that. And especially, not that you have to go on and force yourself to believe, but go on and hear that person's perspective. Because, there's that age-old adage, walk a mile in a person's shoes.
Yeah.
You get to see things from their perspective. Just be willing to know that their perspective and their reality may be different than yours, but it's still theirs.
I did like that you mentioned the Snallygaster too, which is one of my favorite monsters. We wrote about him in Erie, Appalachia. And I loved him because he roamed so far and picked up small children and drained them of blood. It's one of the great cryptids. It's looks like a pterodactyl, so kind of a thunderbird, but then it has tentacles coming out of its mouth. There may have been metallic parts. It's one of the wild stories. My favorite thing about it was Napoleon's nephew supposedly shot it with a cannonball, and it bounced off. So Teddy Roosevelt decided to postpone a trip to Africa, a diplomatic trip to Africa, because he wanted to hunt the creature, because Napoleon's nephew could shoot at it, so could he. So
wow, we'll have to do a deeper dive into the Snallygaster, although I do play the video game Ark, and it seems like something I could have armored my pterodactyl to do. But I'm going to let that go for now because we have more listener tales. Jake,
yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Yes, amazing story. So.
Okay, the next one we got is from Paul C. Hi, Paul. I'm going to take this one. Feel like the drinking game could start. So it begins with, this story always gives me the chills. I shiver thinking about it. I was about 12 years old, hanging out with my best friend's family for the most part. Me too, Paul, me too. I'd left living at home with my grandparents and pretty much been adopted by a new family. They were poor, but loved me and took me in. I'm forever grateful. Oh, that's super sweet.
That's always nice.
Yeah. One of the sisters, Kathy, oh, the Kathy name, we just have that on them friends. Okay, had gotten married and had 2 kids. I babysat once in a while so she and her hubby could have time out alone. They were good children, so it was easy and kind of fun being responsible and trusted. Her husband, Eddie's parents, owned a family house on the side of the road between Welch and Pineville. It was in the middle of nowhere, no neighbors, heavy woods, very beautiful in the day, but lock yourself in at night. It's scary out there. Living on a dark mountain, Paul, I agree.
Can't imagine.
Yeah, exactly. They asked me to go out there to watch the kids overnight so they could go to a club in Pineville. And of course, I said yes. The house has history. It was owned by the family for generations and is said to be haunted by an uncle that had a wooden leg. I already got goosebumps. Oh, we're not even a third of the way through. Okay. You could hear him at night walking around, clomping up the stairs, tapping on the floors. Oh my gosh. There are also stories of mountain people that lived in the heavy woods there, witches and Bigfoot. We were warned to stay close to the house and not go into the woods at all. There was a lot to be scared of. Oh my goodness. I'm already scared and I'm not even halfway through this story. Okay.
I'm loving woods with witches and Bigfoot.
Oh my God. I am nope. I would not agree to babysit. Okay. That night, we went to the house just before dark. Eddie and Kathy left me with the kids and went on their date. I was a little nervous, and the children also knew the history of the house. Needless to say, we were already on edge. Then we heard the clomping on the porch stairs outside. Ooh, nope, oh, yeah. Nope. Clomp step. We were freaking out. I had the lights on outside and there was nobody there. It was easy to see through the big window. The kids were trying to watch TV, but it kept fizzing out because of the bad reception. No cable. Now we're hearing noises and it's getting late. I decided it was time to put the kids to bed and try to go to sleep. Bless you, Paul, if you were able to go to sleep in that, because that would not be me.
Didn't we talk about that in Hopkinsville? When it gets crazy, put the kids to bed. It's all good.
Yeah. Next to the living room, there was a bedroom for the kids. The bed was situated so that you could lay there and watch TV through the door. I turned off the TV, put the kids to bed. They wanted me to read them a story, so I picked one of the books and sat on the bed and started to read aloud. Before I could get the first page finished, the TV popped on in the living room. Zap! A heavy electric fizz came over the speaker. We were stunned in wide-mouthed silence. I couldn't believe my eyes. The screen was all pixelated black and white. My hair stood up all over my body, and I watched a horrific face form in the screen. What? No! Oh my goodness. 2 big black eyes, then 2 nostrils, then a slit of a mouth that started to widen into a sharp razor blade evil grin.
Well, that's well written. Well written.
Oh my God. Heebie-jeebies. Okay. We all started screaming at once. The children jumped onto the pillows and tried to hide behind me. I was screaming. 2 kids. This is, I've seen this movie before. Oh my God. Not really, but I was screaming so loud and ready to faint. It was awful, evil, and grinning at us. I jumped from the bed and ran to the living room. I rushed to the TV and tried to turn it off. The eyes followed me as I moved. The children were screaming and bam, Eddie burst through the door. They were worried about us and came home early. They had just pulled up and got out of the car when we started screaming, and they could hear us from outside. He ran into the living room. What the hell is going on? He yelled. I couldn't speak. I was petrified. All I could do was point to the TV. Eddie turned around, and the look on his face was pure terror. He screamed. He quickly tried to turn off the TV. The face was grinning, and the eyes followed Eddie as he reached behind the TV to unplug it. The face was still there. By the time Kathy had the kids on the porch and I had grabbed our bags, we ran to the car and jumped in. Eddie didn't even turn off the lights. He slammed the door behind him, ran to the car, and got us out of there so fast, I barely remember leaving. We drove to into Welch in silence. The kids were whimpering, and I didn't want to traumatize them further. I never babysat for them again. We only talked about this once, but it still haunts me to this day. Paul, this is going to haunt me from now on.
There is a lot to unpack there.
Oh my God. So, you're going to have to start, Mark. Oh my God.
Paul, I want to tell you, you have the makings of a great storyteller, story writer. That was incredible.
Oh, so, that is terrifying. Terrifying.
I would say off the top of my head, you got some very poltergeist-like activity, with, TVs turning off and on, the clomping sound. That's, classic poltergeist where, the wooden leg grandpa seems to be something might be, real, might be created and all that. But the TV with the eyes and the nostrils and the smile, that is right out of what we were talking about, our wonderful fearmongers playbook.
Yeah, that is totally a fearmonger.
And builds up on that. And I'm thinking this is a time a little while ago. I'd like to, Paul, if you want to reach back out, I sent you an email back saying, hey, when was this? Because this is it sounds like it was a time when no cable, so it was antenna TV. I'm assuming the 70s.
Yeah.
And that would be
or 80s.
Yeah, early 80s maybe.
But it's still, that's terrifying. And there are, as much as we talk about, they're here, there have been a lot of stories with radio, especially older radio and TV, of things trying to communicate through them, right?
Yeah.
And it is, I've heard other ghost stories from people, or whatever we want to call them, where they go to turn off the item or unplug the item, and it's still going.
Still goes.
Like the record player is still playing.
But
yeah.
Back then you just turned it off. It didn't work. You didn't think 2 steps ahead like that sometimes. So
but if you turn off something, you unplug it and it's still going. And
if the fear is building and the tension is there, you don't think straight either, because you're in that fight or flight mode, and at that point flight is definitely the option.
Yeah. Ooh, I would have. No, but what's scary about that is you're hearing the noise from outside. You're younger. Yeah. Like if you go into the mindset as adults, we have a sometimes different mindset of things. But as a child and a younger person, I'm going to say, Paul, for your age, you're hearing it outside. You have the terrifying woods. It's not like you're running to a neighbor's house or something. Like, where do you go? What do you do? Like, it's interesting to think about what the next steps would have been in that had Eddie not come home. But I also think it's interesting that the parents started feeling something was wrong to come home.
Yeah.
And we know as parents, Mark, we're both parents, that when you get that gut feeling, you go with that gut feeling.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It was, yes, hats off, Eddie, to coming home. And nope. That's what I'm going to say. Several nopes. Anyway, okay, over to you for the next one, because I need to recover from that one.
I almost I'm sitting there thinking maybe I should get some blankets and hide under the covers after that one. So
that's exactly what I'm going to do as soon as we're done recording.
So now this next one is nice and long.
Okay.
And this is from Shayna. And Shayna, thank you so much for sending this. This was in response where we were talking about how the Hudson UFO.
Oh, okay.
Talked about where I mentioned that people on Facebook started sharing stories of the advent of social media, and and all that. So she shared this with us, and so
awesome.
And I was an adult when I joined Facebook and first told my story about my UFO experience I had as a boy. I had no idea that when it happened in the early 70s, that multiple UFO sighting reports were in the papers in the area, and even photos. I was about 9 or 10. I had a new bike and a broken hand in a cast.
Whoa, typical America.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hit a kid in a scuffle. I regret it now because he's one of the nicest people I know. But anyway, here's my encounter. That's a nice way to start. So
I like that too.
It was a hot day. I had a new bike I'd gotten for my birthday. Unfortunately, I had ridden it onto the railroad tracks to Lincoln Park and got a flat. So I took it to the Shell station by Browns Creek to get it fixed. The station attendant was a nice guy, fixed my flat, and sent me to the air pump to put air in my tire. And that's when things got crazy.
Of course.
As I was starting to walk past the gas pumps to go home, the attendant yelled, "What the F is that?" I like that they blanked it in the letter too.
Yes, I will say I'm going to properly do it. What the fuck is that? Good. Continue. Yeah.
And he was pointing at the sky. The valley we were in was between two peaks of the mountains, and what I saw filled the entire sky between those peaks. It was a huge rectangular metal. It started coming over the ridge behind the gas station, moved in slow motion, and before the edge of the back crossed the ridge behind me, the front of it crossed the ridge on the opposite peak of the valley. It had to be as big as several football fields. It darkened the entire sky.
Ugh.
We stood there in silence as it moved across the sky above us. It was silent, but I could feel a static-like charge, and the air was very crisp. The attendant was as mesmerized as I was. As it disappeared behind the ridge across the valley, we looked at each other in disbelief, realizing we'd just seen a UFO, a mothership at that. He ran into the station, and I rode my bike like lightning back home. I tried to tell my grandma what I saw, but she didn't want to hear it, thought I was making it up. Been there, done that.
Yes.
By that age, my grandma had made me my own room in the basement. It was my father's old hunting den. I was always scared to sleep down there. My dad's ghost visited me there, but that's a different story for later.
My God, share that story.
Yeah.
What? Why is that not in this? Okay. Sorry, I got excited.
Yeah. Woo. Anyway, that night I had a hard time getting to sleep, but when I did pass out, something very odd happened to me. I'll never believe it was a dream. I woke up and couldn't move. I tried to lift my head, but it was being held down. There was a very bright light above me, and surrounding my bed were several beings. I could only see their silhouettes against the bright light, but I thought they were doctors. I tried to scream and couldn't. The pain in my stomach was very intense. I knew they were cutting me open. I looked down and saw that one of the beings had something in his hand. He was pulling it out of my tummy where my navel is. It was a lizard-shaped embryo they had implanted in my tummy to grow and had come to take it out.
Oh, alien vibes. Oh, and this is before aliens. So, no.
Yeah.
No.
So I saw him taking it out of me. That's when one of them realized I was awake, and he put his hand on my face. As I started to pass back out, I heard one of them say, "We're losing this one." I passed out, but when I woke up the next morning, my stomach was so sore, and I had an extreme feeling of loss, as though the doctors I saw had stole my baby. I burst into tears of pain and horrible loss, such strong feelings for a little boy. I really thought I had lost my baby. I had no idea what to think about it all, but I knew something was really wrong. I knew it was real. Once again, tried to tell my grandma. She wasn't having any of it. The next night, while we were all home, my uncle ran into the house. He was yelling for my grandpa to get his guns and get the truck keys. There was a group of teenage boys outside that had been watching a huge craft of some sort floating above the ridge above Tug River, and it was dipping down into the forest and moving along the ridge. They wanted to go up to the old WXEE radio tower road and track it down. As they drove off into the night, my grandma started to cry and begged them to come back. I touched her shoulder as we watched the lights on the ridge from that window in the living room. She looked down with me with a look I'll never forget. She realized I had told the truth. She believed everything I had told her. She grabbed me and sobbed.
Aww.
Later that night, my grandpa and uncle returned. They couldn't find the lights, but they were really freaked out. This isn't the only UFO story I've got. More to come later. As an adult, I was asked why I thought I'd been used in breeding experiments by aliens. I say, what a great specimen to use. A mountain boy that's always alone in the woods, Will only complain of a tummy ache and a wild story of aliens no one will believe. Perfect. That was my first encounter with alien abduction as a boy in those Appalachian mountains of West Virginia. I was later sent newspaper articles from this time period reporting the sighting of above Belcher Mountain. I wasn't the only one.
Oh,
Dana, I hope to see you at Mothman. You said you will probably see us there, so please come talk to us.
We would love to talk to you. I immediately need this story about your father and any more of these stories about this. And
the other UFO stories will be great. So.
I'll tell you, one of the things that's interesting about any of these stories that occur is I think it really does mentally help you when somebody else acknowledges it. Like the first TV story, Eddie, the adult, came in and saw this situation, right? Yeah. In this case, the grandmother believed him. I think that's important to acknowledge so that you feel heard. And wow, I would like a boy having that story of a loss of a baby. That's really intense. And that's a very specific feeling to have that. I don't know of any boys that are told and describe this feeling, especially back in these times. Right.
And then we're all, and especially, the reptilians and stuff like that, that's a whole newish version of alien history. And we're talking, late 80s, early 90s for that. So this would have been, predate that a little bit. But the big flying rectangle going over between mountain to mountain, that we've heard, that sounds very similar to our Hudson Valley sighting.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay, I think we need to take a quick break. Me and you need to refresh, and we'll be right back with more listener tales.
Keep watching the skies, gang. Erie, Appalachia. Gear up for a frightful jaunt into the darkest reaches of the ancient Appalachians. Folks deep within the Appalachian hollers lean close to the campfire to share stories of the inexplicable with hushed awe. Monsters rumbling in the hills, strange lights darting through the pitch black night sky, horrible occurrences almost ineffable in their bizarre tragedy. Tall tales, you might say. Tell that to the Flatwoods monster in Braxton County, West Virginia, or the Goat Man of Louisville. Look into his humanoid eyes and let him know you don't believe. And what of those apparitions in Mammoth Cave's Corpse Rock, or the Satan spawn known as the Jersey Devil? How do you respond when confronted by these mysteries? From the metaphysical energy that swirls near Serpent Mound in Ohio to Point Pleasant's Mothman legacy, Mark Muncy and Carrie Schultz explore the dark history lurking in the shadows of Appalachia. Read by Mark Muncy, author and experts on strange folklore with appearances on shows such as Ancient Aliens, The Curse of Robert the Doll, and many, many more.
Greetings, mortals and others. I'm Dick Terhune, the voice from hell. I work with haunted attractions all over the US, Canada, and Europe to increase audiences and enhance their experience with highly effective commercials, narrations, animatronic character voices, whatever your dark heart desires. Let me help you do more, scare more, profit more. Find out more at Voice from Hell on Facebook and at voicefromhell.com.
And we're back.
We're back. Okay, I have a short one to the next ones, and then I think we have a total of 4 more. So I'll do this one. Okay.
Buckle up, gang.
Buckle up. This is from Zelda. Wow. First sentence. I believe I had my first out-of-body experience the other morning. It was like I felt every touch of everything happening. I won't go into what exactly was going on that woke me up to sore feeling that lingered on the rest of the day. I would like to infer something there, but that is my very dirty mind. Okay, continuing on. I'm highly sensitive, seen spirits my whole life, an empath, intuitive, and have had visions since I was 20. I was told one day I would have an out-of-body experience, but I didn't imagine it would come true. Thoughts. By the way, I'm trying to research the witch of Kearney Fork in North Carolina. She was a hog, said to my kin, who had a baby in Galloway, kin on the other side.
Okay.
Oh, we need to look into the witch. Let's do that.
She reached out to us because she was wondering if I knew anything about it. And To be fair, I've just started looking into that area. So
okay. Well, I'm adding it to our list. Zelda, thank you for that.
that'll be up near your secret mountain bunker.
Yeah. We would love more of your stories, but
yes,
out-of-body experiences, we'll have to cover that more deeply because, it is very interesting when there are a lot of people who talk about looking down on themselves, especially during traumatic things. And there's a lot of younger people. We kind of talked about this a little bit in our Invisible Friends episode. I refuse to call them imaginary. Where people children talk about looking down on themselves and seeing the room or things like that, where they're seeing their body below them. And I think that I personally believe, having nothing to do with Mark's belief, we'll hear that in a moment, but I personally believe that we are spirits, souls, whatever we want to call it. And these are just our bodies that we use to kind of walk around on this plane, because to me, that explains a little bit on ghosts and things like that and spirits that we talk about, because there can be something between the corporal, is that the right word, and the incorporeal or non-corporeal. Did I say that right?
Corporeal and
non-corporeal. Thank you. Yes. Oh my God. See, I just warranted an email about how
we're gonna get another email. Yeah.
Another email. But that's my personal belief, that there's a difference. There's something that obviously tethers us to these, meat suits that we're in. Actually writing a fiction book about that right now. So more to come on that when that's closer. But that's my personal belief. What about you, Mark? What do you think?
Out-of-body experiences, everything from astral projection to remote viewing and all that stuff. There are studies on this. Government was very interested in this, to see if we could use it for spying techniques. And this is kind of some of that MK Ultra stuff as well that we talked about before. They believe it so much that they had a branch looking at it, into these things. Look, there's a great movie, which was based on a great book, Men Who Stare at Goats, was based on.
Oh yeah.
And that's what this is. This is, people see this stuff and people have these experiences, and that was the whole point of mushrooms and the psychedelic movement, was to try to encourage these out-of-body experiences and stuff like that. But we've got, I think, Zelda, I think you had your, something happened, and it sounds like you've already had other things in your life that had opened the door. So, this was, and as you said, somebody told you this was going to happen. So, and now it did. And we'd love to hear more of your stories and more of your tales. Keep in touch.
Yes, and, please.
Hopefully we will see you at one of our events soon, or if nothing else, just drop us another line. So,
yes. And here's the thing. I firmly believe that one of the things is when the door gets opened, if you don't have proper protections and things, that door is open. Like, you're susceptible to it. That's a belief I have. But anyway, okay. Your next one, Mark.
Okay. Now this one is another, good size one. So hang on, gang. But I think you're going to like this. And this one comes to us from Juan Rosales. And I hope I pronounced that right, Juan. So I do not believe that what I'm about to tell you is a paranormal phenomenon, but it is certainly unexplained. Thank you for starting that way. I like that.
Yes.
Growing up, I lived in a one-family house in Lawrence, Massachusetts. Lawrence, Massachusetts is known for their old mills. Anyways, that is beyond the point. The point is, when I was in my teens, my family and I experienced something terrifying. We were all in separate rooms doing our normal routine at the time, when out of nowhere, I get this sense of dread that lasted about a second. Then boom, a large explosion rocked the house. So many things ran through my mind. I thought for sure a house blew up or something to that magnitude happened. My family all gathered in one room. We were clearly all rattled about the situation. My mom called the cops. They arrived on scene and searched the area. When they were done searching, it was said they could not find a source to the sound. Therefore, we just went back to our normal lives, more perplexed than ever.
First of all, when everyone hears that, that's one thing. If it's one person that's going, I heard a loud explosion, But if the entire house heard it,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The one person hearing it, that's, there's conditions that cause that. You can have that in the ear. You can, brain issues and other things. It's, I forget what it's called. It's something syndrome where you hear crashes and stuff.
Yes.
We used to hear that back in the backyard of Hellview, but that usually was something crashing. So.
Oh, well, let's not even get what you left in the backyard of Hellview, but okay. Continue on.
All right, we soon forgot about the incident and moved forward as it never happened. Then a few days later, we were doing our own thing in our rooms when out of nowhere, the same dread washed over me again. And boom, the explosion sound again. We did not call the cops again, and we did not do anything else about it. We went back to our normal lives again. A few days after that, a third boom rocked the neighborhood. At that point, we thought it was not a coincidence. Someone must be setting up these explosion sounds. Despite searching for the answers ourselves, we could not find an explanation. Eventually, I had forgotten about the whole situation. The subject did not appear in family conversations for years to come. Anywho, I stumbled across an episode of The Proof is Out There. In this episode, they spoke of a similar instance of unexplained booms. In this specific case, it happened in San Diego. In that episode, you can see surveillance video of a city block being shook by an unexplained boom. They did a full analysis of the surveillance video. It turned out it was authentic and not tampered. In some instances, the booms could be human-made, but there was no evidence of that. And so they ruled it out to be unexplained. Keyword, unexplained. I like how you wrote that, though. The episode reminded me how confused I was as to what the noise was. I was also wondering why it was that I got the sense of dread literally a second before the loud explosion. Is there anyone who has experienced a similar thing or who can maybe shed some light to this unexplained phenomenon? And I love you reached out to us with that. So,
well, first of all, listeners, if you've had this experience or anything that Juan is asking for, please send it to us. We will absolutely share it. There was talk about something like this having to do with, I hate to say it, but alien crafts or crafts hitting certain speeds or entering into, airspace and things like that. I think also
natural craft doing that. It's called the sound barrier. And there's the sonic boom that happens when people break the sound barrier. So that could have been naval testing, could have been Air Force testing, could be anything. That area does have a lot of shipyards and other things. So the military do drills out there, but that's odd that the police would have come out and investigated because they know when there's naval testing and stuff like that for the most part, unless it's a classified operation or something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of things are classified, but one, you're not alone. Similar people have had this in similar times. There have been governmental agencies, I'll put it that way, that have gone, we don't know what you're talking about. The sense of dread is interesting, but I kind of wonder if the sense of dread has to do with, and I'm going to forget the exact name of this now, but when we become in danger as humans, and people sometimes talk about this like right before they get in an accident or something like that, what is that called? There's a word for what that's called when you.
Yeah, it's precognition.
Precognition, and I think that has something to do with it, where you kind of like a cat or a dog or animal sense things before the danger actually arrives. It's part of a survival mechanism we have now because we've been close to the top of the food chain for many moons as a species. I think this has kind of waned a little bit in us because it hasn't been as necessary as it was previously. That is my take with absolutely no scientific or medical degree.
Well, no, I think we do get that little sense of something's not right. The hairs on the back of your neck stand up and stuff like that. The Spidey sense, from Spider-Man and all that, amplified by 1,000. I think that's part of it. I also, like I said, for the sonic, could be sonic booms, could be minor tremors in that area. There are a lot of fault lines throughout the United States that people don't think about much. We all think California is where all the earthquakes happen. No, they happen everywhere. And some are very localized, like a very small area. There was an island in Florida that had a loose gas main under it that would pop every once in a while, and they just kind of left it because they didn't have the money to fix it, and it would just make the ground shake a little bit in a very small area, like one neighborhood. So they just, it was kind of like Old Faithful. It would just happen every once in a while. So I mean, it could be a lot of those things. I don't know. I agree with you, Juan. I think it's just unexplained. I think it's I'm not willing to stamp UFO or alien on that, or even paranormal. I think it's just something we don't know what it is. So thanks for sending it.
Yes. And listener tales, please, listeners, if you have a similar story, share it with us. We'll share it. Okay, this next one is from Iron Bear. Oh, I love that name. Here we go. So I know this is a podcast for folklore and cryptids, but I have to honor some things, especially the time-honored tradition of the hunt. Ooh. The heart of every Bigfoot or Sasquatch or cryptid enthusiast is the hunter. We hunt the truth no matter what. I love that. That being said, a hunter of any kind has a loyal member of his hunting party, and that is his dog. Sadly, this member was shorter lifespan than us, and until the day they die, they watch over us as we sleep and protect those we hold dear with everything they can, all for a few pets and a good boy or a good girl and a bowl of food. Sadly, this week, my family's hunting party got a little smaller. My baby boy Popo dog passed away. He was old, but every bit like a puppy as his brothers. Oh, why am I reading the sad dog story? It's probably good Callie, our producer, is in the background because she would not be doing good
right now because she's in tears already. I know.
Okay. Poe was the only dog I can ever say there will be. Poe was the only dog I can ever say there will be never another like him. He was too special to describe, and he protected my mother and my father better than anyone ever, and could have saved my life more than once. He was the perfect dog. My only wish is that he is somewhere up above looking down with his sister Lucy and enjoying a nice belly rub and a game of tug of war with my grandpa.
Oh,
it's sad and hurts. The sad hurts will be one member short from now on, especially in my journey to seek the truth behind the cryptids and folklore, but I'll carry on like Poe's always vigilant and always hungry. But Poe was only ever hungry for a big treat and an even bigger steak after a good hunt. Laugh out loud. I'll miss you, baby boy, and don't worry, I'll protect mom and dad for you now, and I'll go out and find that there's Bigfoot for you.
Yeah, I like that they're Bigfoot for you.
Yeah. And treat him with the same kindness you always treated everyone, minus the big kisses you gave people. Laugh out loud. I think that's probably a good idea. Iron Bear, do not kiss Bigfoot.
Don't go licking new people. Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's not a cryptid related, but let's face it. Anyone knows hunting of any kind knows a dog, especially one used for hunting, is the best tool you can have to see things you can't see, especially when they're protecting you from something. Keep this in mind when you go out into the woods with your dogs, guys. When they are looking off in the distance and their tail is stopped moving, you should stop as well, face the direction they are, and back slowly. They have recognized a potential threat and are making sure they've placed themselves between you and whatever they sense is not friendly. Respect your dog's warning and move out of the area. And once your dog returns to normal and their tail is wagging, give them a treat and a good boy or good girl, depending. They have just done something amazing for you, and you're alive for their efforts.
Love that. Love that so much.
I do love that. And, we were just talking about sort of a precognition thing, but it's very true. I think, I love that you're hunting for the truth, and you say that, because if you're going to hunt for any of these things, let it be for the truth of them and not for any other reason. And I agree. I'm sorry you lost your dog, Iron Bear. I get it. Right now I'm sitting in here with my puppy, which absolutely warns me of things and stuff like that. And he does give unconditional love, and that's something animals do. I know you have sort of a scaly dog, Mark, because
I have a scaly cat,
Claudius.
So
yeah, Claudius, which, you know, having a giant monitor lizard in your house is also a plus for some
my
things.
previous monitor lizard saved my life. So
Really?
Yep, I had my previous monitor lizard when I was in high school. His name was Quasi, short for Quasimodo, because he was almost a Komodo dragon, so he was a Quasimodo. And it was, I liked having fun names with my pets. But
I agree, mine's named after a video game, so
yeah,
I get it.
So Quasi, one night, he just would run around the house. That was just he had his aquarium, but he didn't stay in it very long. And same with Claudius here now. They go back there when they want to get warm up. But one day, out of the blue, now the Savannah monitors are probably one of the most docile pets you will ever have, unless you are a mouse or a piece of fish, or or any meat. They might go for it. But for people, they look at us like, just we're big trees, and and that sometimes give them food. So they're not very aggressive at all. And one day, out of the blue, he came over. I was sitting on the edge of my bed, and he came up and bit me on my toe. And now I thought maybe he thought it was a mouse or something that he could eat, but that was very unusual. And I'd never been bitten by him for years.
Wow.
What the heck? And now normally when they bite something, they latch onto it and don't let go, like a crocodile or an alligator. They roll, they're not going to let go. But he literally, once he realized he bit me, he took off running. And I was like, what the heck? So I got up to go chase him and said, what the hell was that about? As soon as I got up, the ceiling fan in my room collapsed right where I was sitting.
Oh my gosh.
Right where I was sitting. So
wow.
Out of the roof.
Yeah, well, hello, Quasimodo. And
yep.
Yeah, no,
very
that's
sad when Quasi finally passed years later, but he saved my life. So
that is amazing. And I think we could probably get a ton of listener tales of people's pets who saved their lives. But Iron Bear, I'm sorry you lost Popo. I do hope he's looking down, and I do hope he gets to play that tug of war with Grandpa, because that would be kind of epic.
And getting all the belly rubs.
All the belly rubs. I think we have one more, Mark. What is
one more? And we'll wrap up this edition. So, all right. This is from Rick, and Rick says, "You might enjoy this. My grandfather said it was 100% accurate. I believe him. My great uncle Rufus was a believer in the occult, ghosts, and spirits. So when a severe storm rolled into the hollow, my grandfather and Uncle Rufus left the field and headed to the barn. They took the mule named Sailor to his stall. Sailor was a big mule, in his prime and completely white. After securing the barn, the boys headed to the house to wait out the storm. As they reached the front porch, they turned just in time to see a bolt of lightning dance on the barn's metal roof. From Grandpa's description, it must have been some St. Elmo's fire. They talked about...
Do we want to explain what St. Elmo's fire is?
St. Elmo's fire is like a glow from electricity. It usually is around storms. It looks like this green dancing light, usually sometimes blue, and it's from charged particles in the atmosphere, and it makes a glow. It's kind of like bioluminescence, but it's not bio. It's actually in the air. So
yeah.
Again, it's another one of those we don't have fully 100% understand how it works, because we can kind of make it happen, but it's one of those never the same thing twice. It's like looking at a rainbow. You never see the same rainbow. You're not even seeing the same rainbow somebody else is, because different angles of light, you can't be standing in somebody else's exact position. So
that is true, because that would be weird and body snatching, and you probably stop doing that.
So they saw that weird light, and they talked about the specter they had seen, and both were completely baffled. Grandpa wanted to go to the barn to check things out, but Rufus was petrified with fear and refused to leave the house for the rest of the day. Come breakfast the following morning, Grandpa was attempting to describe to the rest of the family the fire show they had witnessed the day before. Just then, Uncle Rufus came in from outside. He had gone to the barn alone. Overhearing Grandpa's story, he interrupted and said, "And I'll tell you what we saw. that was old sailor's ghost. He's laying down there dead.
What?
So the mule had died, and healthy in his prime mule, according to the story. And
yikes.
So now my thought is maybe the lightning killed the donkey. But
I know, but the spirit or the specter of it, the other people have talked about seeing things in storms. Like, obviously there's light and there's things and there's science, but people have talked about it. It's interesting. I wonder what it is about a storm that sometimes brings these things forth.
I don't know. It's again, storms are forces of nature, and they are things that we still don't fully understand. There's a reason we don't 100%. We kind of know how hurricanes are formed and how tornadoes are formed and all that. We know what it takes to do it, but why does it not happen sometimes? Why does it happen other times? What's that spark?
It's again an unexplained thing. We've had several of those this episode is unexplained things, because I have no doubt there's science, but I know there are other stories and stuff where people talk about, and we'll get into them, but there's somewhere, like there's even when a hurricane comes, there's one you were going to go dive into about when a hurricane comes and you can see the ghost walking the shores.
Halsey's Island. Yeah. That's North Carolina. We mentioned it, the gray man. Gray man spirits. Yeah. We mentioned that on the previous traveling episode. So he goes up whenever there's a storm looking for his lost love. He never found her. And that's stuff. There's a lot of storm ghost stories. There's a pirate ship that got washed off by a storm into the Everglades, and because they were traveling the 10,000 lakes, they never found their way back out to sea, and their ghost ship is only seen in storms in the Everglades. So there's neat stories like that all throughout. So it's
true. Well, thank you so much for sharing that story with us, Rick.
Rick,
I'm sorry your family lost Sailor. He sounded like a cool mule, which for those that don't know, a mule is a combination of a horse and a donkey.
Okay, yep. And I think your great uncle Rufus and your grandfather, you're right. They're, I think they saw some things they didn't understand. So
I agree. So keep sending them in, listeners. Thank you so much. This has been amazing hearing your stories. We love them.
What a roller coaster of an episode, man. This is
wow.
Great.
So much heartstrings.
All the emotions.
Yes. Oh, so many emotions. Okay. Well, I guess until next time, huh, Mark?
Yeah. So in the meantime, like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Follow us on YouTube now. We will be posting more shorts up there because that's what we've been requested to do. Of course, you can also follow us on all the other Instagrams at Erie Travels and all the other socials. So thank you so much as always, and we'll have the wonderful Destiny Beard play us out, and we'll see you on the other side.